Did you know that there's one thing that you can do to begin getting unstuck in your relationships? And in the next 5 minutes, there's one thing that I'm going to share with you to get you unstuck. And I'm Judy Herman, author of Beyond Messy Relationships, Divine Invitations to Your Authentic Self. And I'm also a licensed professional counselor, but we know that this, of course, is not a substitute for professional counseling, but you can still get this one thing that will get you unstuck from relationship messes. First of all, if you're here, I don't know who's here, but if you are seeing this live, go ahead and put in the comments what you think are places that are stuck, because being stuck for one person may not be stuck for another, but just examples of stuckness. What stuck means is just, or being in a messy relationship and not being able to get beyond it. It's like telling your spouse your feelings, and every time you do, they get angry. And then perhaps they don't speak for a few days, and that would be an example of being stuck or being stuck in the mess, or all the work you're doing in the relationship. You may be in a romantic relationship, and you're the one that is putting the energy, and your significant other is working or putting time into their career, and they're not contributing. That's a place of being stuck. Or maybe you're a roommate and you've told your roommate to make sure they pick up after themselves and they don't. And so that's also another place of stuckness. So it can be in different relationships, not just marital relationships, but in romantic relationships and others. But there's three things, and here's, well, actually one thing, but I'm gonna flesh it out 3 ways. Awareness. Awareness is the one thing that will begin to get you unstuck in relationships. And what I mean by that, most people think that they are already self-aware. The truth is, most people are not near as self-aware as what they need to be in order to get unstuck. And by awareness, there's 3 areas that I wanted to touch on. Number 1 is awareness of our bodies. Like, some people get so busy that they're not even aware that they're hungry. Or on the other hand, some people are not aware that they're full after they're eating a great big meal like Thanksgiving last week. So they're not aware that they're not getting enough sleep. There's a lot of things that the body tells us that the mind can't, but the body does. And we need to make sure that we pay attention and that we are aware of our bodies. Now, we can do that by taking in some deep belly breaths and breathing in deeply and just closing your eyes for 90 seconds and taking 2 or 3 breaths and being aware of whether you're tense in your shoulders or whether you're relaxed, because we hold tension and we hold stress in our bodies, and we need to make sure that we are aware. And then also awareness of feelings. So many times I'll ask that counselor proverbial question, how does that make you feel? And most people, instead of saying, well, I feel scared, or I feel crummy, or I feel happy or sad, instead of saying the feeling words beyond that, they'll instead tell me in their interpretation of what the other person is doing or the situation. So instead, they're sharing their thoughts rather than their feelings. But the body does help us to be aware of our feelings. We need to be aware of the body and then also be able to verbalize feelings. And then thirdly, we need to be aware of our triggers. The reality is, when we get married to someone, or we live with someone, or have a close relationship, we expect that person to see the world just like we do, or we expect them to be like us. Oh, I wouldn't do that. They did that. I would never have done that. But the reality is, we all have different perspectives. We all have a different world view, and we all have different experiences. So the more that we can realize that the universe doesn't revolve around us, and the other person has a perspective that's different, we need to be aware of our perspectives, or how we might be expecting them to be like us, which is kind of crazy, isn't it? So being able to be aware of their otherness and how they're different than us, and honoring that, but being aware of the triggers, because there's certain things with each of our experiences, we're going to get triggered by certain things where others won't. So being aware of your body, being aware of your feelings, and being aware of your triggers are all things that can contribute to getting beyond the messiness in relationships. Now, I have a free resource for you, so hang with me, and it's called 10 Ways to Build Trust in a Relationship. All you have to do is go to my website, judycounselor.com, and sign up. Plus, if you do that, you and I can stay in touch. And I would love to also let you know when I'm going to produce the audio version of my book. And then also when the other versions are going to be out in 2019, give you an opportunity to pre-order and all of that. So I'm excited that you're hanging with me on this. But also, I wanted to give a great big huge thanks because there's so many people that have helped me. My beta readers. We've been in a closed group since March, and these are readers who have read my early manuscript of my book and have given me feedback. I have been so vulnerable to them, and it's kind of been hard, but it's been a wonderful thing. They've hung with me. So if you're a beta reader, thank you so much. And then I thank you so much also for my proofreaders. I had about 20 proofreaders just within the last week. And people have, this is after my line edits, but I've had several pairs of eyes on my manuscript. And so some have caught some things that I thought, whoa, you're the only person that's caught that. So talk about being aware, especially as a writer, and getting this polished manuscript ready for my publisher. It's been wonderful to have other people come alongside. And then also, if you have voted for my book design, because I've had a lot of hype around that, and I want to thank you. Thank you so much. But remember, awareness is the key to get us beyond messy relationships. So I hope you have a good evening, and thanks so much for joining me. Bye.